Okay, welcome back to my channel, you guys. If you're new around here, I go by Conscious Babe here on YouTube, and we are going to get right into it. If I'm looking at my phone, it's because I wrote down like a whole book, okay, a whole book in my notes. I have trouble being open and vulnerable when it comes to people, and this is purely based on my past, because I remember me not being like this. I remember me being, so willing to be open with people, and so like excited to be open with people and have these intimate moments with people, whether that be like romantically or platonically. But through the years, when I went through my boy crazy phase, when I was allowing all this toxicity into my life and not setting boundaries and not knowing how to navigate relationships with people and kind of just letting them fly, like I feel like I got to a point where I was just like hold up, like I think the way for me to go in order to heal and to order for me to focus on myself is to go celibate. So for years and still now, like I've been on this journey of celibacy, and it has been so refreshing to reconnect with myself. Here goes another plane. But I can't help feeling like I'm also in the process of, this whole celibacy thing. In the process, I feel like I am denying myself of something that I do truly want deep down, which is intimate connections with people. But I know how men operate. I have unfortunately learned the negative aspects of, men and things like that. And I have been hurt and yada, yada, yada. So like it's making me have to choose between, continuing this whole lifetime, with being celibate, or to put myself out there and to not afraid of being hurt again, and to open myself up to the possibility of what may happen now that I have learned how to set boundaries and what to look out for. It's just like I know what to look out for and I know what the red flags are, but I'm still like afraid that I may get caught up in, explaining a man's actions. Yeah, so I feel like in a way, celibacy has been good for me. However, it is kind of the easy way out. This may not be true for everyone, but in a way, it's kind of like the easy way out for me, just because if I do not open myself up to anyone, I cannot possibly feel these feelings of abandonment if I never, open myself up to them. But I had been celibate for years, no makeout sessions, no holding hands with people, for years, until a guy from my past showed back up into my life. He texted me out the blue saying he was in my city, yada, yada, yada. So we linked up. We ended up being intimate that night. And we didn't go all the way, but, we still, got a little frisky that night. And I remember after, our intimate moment or whatever was over, he fell asleep right after, which is completely natural, yada, yada, yada. That's just biology. But I remember staying up, while he was asleep, just looking over at him sleep, like feeling sad, and I was like sitting with myself, like, why do I feel sad? Like, this man did nothing. He could have done more to make me feel a little more secure, but this man did nothing to me that, would directly allow me to be feeling the way that I do. So yeah. And then after that night, I got a little sensitive because wait a minute, let's wait for this plane. Yeah, anyway, so after that night and things like that, and after we were intimate, he ended up leaving my place to go, handle some plans that he had in the city. And then I got a little sensitive because, he said he couldn't see me before he left just because he, had to drop off his car rental and yada, 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 just didn't have enough time. And to me, I took that as like he didn't have enough time for me, like he didn't want to come see me again and things like that. So I got a little sensitive about that, got even more sad. Like I went through this whole spiral of, that's why you shouldn't let people in. That's why you shouldn't, have intimate connections with people, because you don't know how to handle it. You don't know how to navigate it. And, a man is just always going to want one thing. And then after he gets that thing, he's just going to be good off of it. Those feelings started to resurface for me. And then it further put me back into this place where I'm just like, okay, I'm celibate for sure. I'm not even going to make out with anybody anymore. Yeah, but after that night, and I got a little sensitive and I started spiraling and, things like that. I never confronted him about it the way I was feeling, even though we had been friends for years. years prior to like us, you know, even engaging in anything. Like, we've known each other for years and things like that. I just didn't confront the situation just because I just didn't feel like I could, you know. And instead of, you know, confronting him and anything like that, I just stopped responding to his text. He texted me before he was boarding his plane to say, you know, goodbye, thank you for, you know, da-da-da-da. And I just didn't respond. And then he texted me again, you know, reiterating, and I didn't respond. And this is when the anxious attachment styles or avoidant attachment styles started to play. Like, I'm one of those people that, like, if I sense any type of, you know, what do you call it? Any type of pushback. If I sense any pushback, any guy that I am involved with romantically or have been, I immediately cut it off. Like, I just want to block him. I never want to speak to him because it's just like, I'm going to get you before you get me, you know, type thing. Let me pull up my notes because I feel like I'm about to ramble. But anyways, yeah, and I was fully prepared to push him completely away and never see him again, never talk to him again. But instead of allowing me to do this, he texted me to confront me about it. He was just like, hey, like, are you indifferent about what happened? Like, what's going on? You know, yada, yada, yada. And I really appreciate him for that, because instead of allowing me to spiral and instead of allowing his own, you know, what do you call it, assumptions to get in the way of coming forth, you know, he confronted the situation. He wanted to know what was up. And so I told him basically, like, him not coming to see me kind of like got to me. Like, I thought like I wasn't like a priority. Not that I want to be a priority, but just like you prioritize your friends. Like, whenever you're in someone's city and you like a person, you will go see that person. And the fact that he didn't come see me before he left, like, I just like had my own assumptions about the situation, and I just wanted nothing more to do with him. I was getting kind of, you know, sassy about that. So we ended up talking it out and things like that, and we came to a conclusion, and yeah, like, and we continued to talk after that, and I just really appreciated him for that, because like I really was prepared to just cut him off due to assumptions. And granted, I could have been right, you know, and still to this day, like, I have feelings of like, if a man wants to, he truly would. If he wanted to come see you that day, no matter what was going on, he would have. But I'm also not going to throw away the fact that he did confront the situation. He wanted to get to the bottom of it. I feel like a person who truly did not care would have just let me stop talking to them. But yeah, I truly did not know. I truly just did not like the empty feeling and the feelings of sadness I had after my encounter with him. And, you know, I wanted to get to the root of that, whether that was something that he personally did or didn't do enough of, or was that just simply a reflection of, you know, me assimilating past, you know, experiences into my present ones and things like that. And I couldn't at the time articulate what exactly I needed from the encounter in order for me to not walk away feeling like empty and sad and regretful of the things that took place that night. So that's something that I definitely wanted to take a deeper dive into, because I know that celibacy isn't for everyone. And personally, like, I don't want it to be for me forever. You know, I do enjoy intimate connections with people. I do, you know, this is just completely natural. As humans, we're constantly seeking, you know, connections with people. We're constantly seeking new experiences and things like that. And I feel like, you know, me shutting off and really sticking to this celibacy thing has also allowed me to fear intimacy on every level when it comes to relationships in my life. So even friendships, like, I feel myself not going too deep or not going deep enough, or like maintaining at surface level. And I don't want to live like that, because I feel as if like I'm at a stagnant period of my, you know, evolution with doing so, because I feel like people truly do allow you to evolve and help assist you to evolve. And I feel like if I maintain this attitude of, you know, everybody's out to get me, I cannot truly grow to my fullest potential thinking like this all the time. So yes, celibacy has been very refreshing. It has allowed me to regain focus focus on myself because I am coming out of a period where I literally did nothing by myself. I constantly needed a partner, whether that be like a romantic partner or like a friend or something like that. Like it's like something I needed. So cutting off all that and going through a phase of, you're removing certain, platonic and romantic relationships out of my life has helped me in a way. But I think it's time for me to kind of like get back out there and kind of stop being afraid to be hurt and to learn, lessons and to fall and get back up again. I need to not be afraid to do that because it is a disservice to me. It's just simply, I really need to work on this level of distrust I have. I am a person, when it comes to people, I think the worst immediately. I never give people the benefit of the doubt, and I just take actions how I view them and think that's the only way that possible action can be interpreted. But I am beginning to realize that people are so much more intricate and diverse than that, and I cannot be right all the time. Like, even though deep down, like, I feel like I'm right about everything, that just simply is not the case. And that is why I need to become more comfortable with having these tough conversations and calling people out when I feel like something is wrong, because not all the time when I feel like somebody did something or somebody said something, not all the time the way I interpret it is the way that they meant for it to be interpreted. So I also have to keep that in mind. And also, one thing I did have a thought about is maybe my fear of, being open with people is subconsciously a reflection of how I view other people. For instance, like, I'm not a bluntly judgmental person, but I have found myself removing certain people who didn't necessarily do anything wrong to me, and we're just having very human moments. So I judge one action a person does and completely just tailor that as their whole entire persona. And, like I was saying before, people are so much more intricate than that. So I push people away when I feel like they need something from me, no matter what that is, tangible or non-tangible things, because I automatically, assume that because they need this, that, and the third, they're just using me. And that may not be the case. That is the case sometimes, but that may not be always the case. And that may just be a childhood wound. There isn't a single person in my life that I haven't felt these feelings of distrust with. And the more information, the more proximity a person has to me, the more I try to hold on or retain information, because I like to have control on what certain people know about me and things like that, because I do care a lot of how I'm perceived, because I feel like how I'm perceived is how I am treated. But I don't want to care how I'm perceived. Instead, I want to focus more of my energy on just being authentic and to act on things that just come naturally to me in this point of my evolution, and to not hold back and to not push every single person away in my life, because with pushing every single person away the moment they slip up, I'll be left with nobody, because people are going to mess up, people are going to slip up. I'm not saying, give people 1, 2, 3 chance and let people walk all over you and let them say sorry and that be it. But I'm saying, like, people are human, they're going to mess up. And so it's your job to kind of decide whether this connection is something you want to keep along, and if what was done or what happened can be, got to the bottom of. I quite recently pushed away a friend of mine. This is a platonic relationship that I had with another person. I pushed them away because, they kept asking me for money constantly. Not constantly, like it was like every day, but like I say once every few weeks, they would ask for, a chunk of money, and, I would give it to them, when it didn't hurt my personal pockets, and, they would always give it to me back. I never asked them why they kept asking me for money. I just went into this mode of defensiveness of, they're just using me, yada, yada, yada. But come to find out, long story short, they were going through a lot of things personally with their mental health, with, gambling addictions, and they were going through a lot. And instead of me just having trust in this person, like, okay, this person has never done this before. This person has never given me any other reason besides this one to make me think, they're just using me. However, I just took one moment and, just made that the person's entire persona. I just took that one thing and I made that their entire persona and didn't confront the situation and didn't ask. And what is the point of community if you cannot lean on each other? And when people start needing things from me, I automatically get into this mode of defensiveness, because in the past, me always being like this provider and providing for the people around me has really been a major role in my life. And it's not something I want to get caught up anymore, because it takes a lot from you always giving and giving and giving and never receiving, or not maintaining relationships that are give and receive and give and take, and it's not in balance like that. I feel like some of the relationships I've had in the past have definitely been at an imbalance where I was giving more than I was receiving, and sometimes I was getting literally nothing. So I got defensive because of that. However, after our little heart to heart and the apologies and kind of us getting to the root cause of things, it really opened my eyes. People are more intricate than I think, and you cannot just assume everything and think your assumption is correct. Seeing two points of views, and nobody was wrong in this situation, but it's just having that open line of communication and to understand the fact that you cannot take things personally, and not everything is about someone wanting to get you, And I also feel like I have been wrapped up in these new age ideologies, cut people off that no longer serve you. And part of that's correct. Definitely cut people off that are a detriment to you. But at the same time, don't be so quick to cut people off that you start lacking these skills of how to talk to people and how to confront people and how to get to the bottom and how to be open with people to let them know what you're feeling and what they're doing makes you feel. If you lack that, if you don't practice that, you're going to be left with nobody in your life, because somebody is going to always do something that you kind of interpret a different way than what it was meant to be interpreted. But having that open line of communication and having trust in that person is literally the golden ticket. And yes, it is definitely okay to let relationships go, to cut people off, or to let things naturally fizzle out over time, because I feel sometimes you have these relationships with people and those people were only meant to be in your life for that phase in your life. And as you two grow on different spectrums, sometimes you do naturally just fizzle out, and it's not good to kind of try to hold on to that. It's just good to just let it naturally fizzle out and naturally grow apart. But to sit there and cut people off, which is something I've gotten caught up in doing, to cut people off the moment they mess up or the moment I feel a certain way about something they did, it's just not a sustainable way to live, because I will be left with no one in my community if I continue to do this. Okay, that is a lot of information for right now, and I want time to kind of you guys to kind of sit on that. I will be making a part 2, because like I told you guys, this is literally a book. I have so much more to say on this topic. But to wrap up what I just said in this video, basically I recently hung out with a friend, literally today. He left today, and we've had some deeper conversations. He opened up to me about some of the things he's going through and things like that, and the conversation that we had made me really open my eyes. And the conversations that I've had too with other friends recently is really opening my eyes to the fact that people are so much more intricate than I am giving them credit for. And I'm really wanting to get out of this habit of thinking the world is out to get me and thinking everyone is just evil and nasty. Yeah, but to sum that all up, there's more on these topics later, but I feel like this video will be super long if I just give y'all all the details right then and here. But I will be making a part 2 to this video, because I feel like this is a very crazy, not crazy topic. I can pick a better word than that. This is a very intricate topic. I feel like I've been using intricate a lot in this video, but this is a very intricate topic. And like I told y'all before, this is a whole book in my notes, but I didn't want this video to be that long. So to wrap up like what we just talked about, like basically I'm becoming more and more on this road of kind of like allowing more people into my life and allowing those people to mess up, and to not be so quick to cut people off, and to really get down to the root cause of my avoidant and anxious attachment styles to people, and what I can actively do or say in my relationships to not allow me to walk away with certain intimate connections with people feeling sad or regretful, and to kind of build more trust with people so that I won't walk away and I have confidence in the relationship that we have, to understand that they will not do anything to me that intentionally cause me emotional or physical harm. You know, some of the things I have felt have solely been me, you know, letting my past creep into my future. And I don't want that to happen anymore. And I also want to be more open to the fact that like I do crave intimacy, and I do crave, you know, touch and things like that. And I want to get more comfortable with that and more open with that, and what that looks like for me. And, you know, I just really have to practice on, you know, what my boundaries are, what I need from people. Because if I don't get in the practice of, you know, knowing this and being able to verbalize this to people, I will never like truly have connections that I need and want in my life. So yeah, this is crazy stuff, you guys. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments, if you guys are on a similar wave, what you kind of think about how you've handled your anxious or your types of attachment styles to people. Are you on this celibate journey? You know, what do you think? Just give me the details, because this is definitely a topic that I want to talk to more people about. But yeah, more on this topic later, you guys. So if you like content like this, you guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You know the vibes, period. And don't forget to hit that bell notification to let you know when I post again. And without further ado, I'll see you in the next video.